Om Sri Sai Ram. Love is the only power. Love is the only way. Love sweetens every hour. Love, have a lovely day. Love is the only power. Love is the only way. There is no other power. There is no other way. But not our love. What we call love is anything else but love. His love. Pure, divine, selfless love. We are, all of us, the ambassadors and channels of His love. He has in fact created us only to express His love to Himself. I separated myself from myself to love myself. The only purpose is to love. Light of love enlightens our hearts and minds with His awareness. Light of His love. Today I'll give two instances. Sri Subbarao Garu was probably one of the first representatives of our country in United Nations. As a Sai devotee, he was supremely knowledgeable and a scholar. And he was one of the few residents of Puttaparthi in those days, early days, who used to always be dressed well. His dhoti, his kurta, even his, what they call in Telugu, that they put here on the shoulder. Everything perfect color match. And very nice, very royal personality. His father was one of the greatest scholars of Vedas. He was given the vision in which he composed what we all know as Sai Gayatri. Saishwaraya vidmahe Satyadevaya dhimahi Tanna sarva prachodayat. And he narrated this in presence of Swami in Trai in Kodai evening sessions. I was present there. That this Sai Gayatri was narrated to my father by a divine vision of Swami, and when he woke up from his early morning sleep, he wrote down everything. Then with his knowledge, scholarly knowledge, he found out what I don't understand that language, to be very frank. The meters and everything fit perfectly of the highest mantra ever, Sai Gayatri. He gave all the details in Swami's presence. Those days there used to be what we call study circle classes. It was not that everybody has to speak. It was a study class, as we say. Mr. Sri Kasturi ji, Gopal Rao ji, Subbarao ji, and sometimes some L-truckers, sometimes, or some Vice Chancellor Gokak Garu, they would come and address the gatherings. It was meant for overseas devotees, and few were allowed. I was fortunate, one of them. I enjoyed privileges. I have received so much love in my life, right from my childhood. My teachers, my parents, my relatives, my friends, everywhere. All have given me so much that whatever little I give, it is just not even a fraction of love that I have received in my life till today. Probably his formula, the more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. I give love like unconditionally without calculating. I don't have a calculating mind, and I receive without any calculations from everybody. Ashram people also, they love me like anything, right from Kasturi ji to Subbarao ji to Gopal Rao ji, Kutum Rao, Ganal Jogar, everyone. Even Swami's most favorite students and staff, Chakravarti Gar, everyone. So now coming to the point of love, I mentioned this because I wanted to mention the power of love. He told once, probably it is someone told me that this was published in Sanatan Sarthi. I have not read it directly, but I heard it directly from Subbarao Garu in one of the classes. That in US there was this old lady in her 80s. She was a very religious practicing Christian, would attend the churches, and then she found in her neighborhood Satya Sai Center, and she started going there. She was very broad-minded, and she enjoyed Sai bhajans also, but her mind was fixed on Jesus Christ. Once the lady in charge of the bhajan center, she told her that we'll be leaving for India, and so there will be no probably bhajan sessions for a week or two. So this was announced. So, and they told her if she was interested, she could join them. In her mind, she thought that she is a practicing Christian. She should not go to visit to have anything to do with an Hindu god. She was, of course, very broad-minded, but yet this thought was there. Being a religious person, all her life she has been worshipping Jesus. And she used to complain, in fact, in her own words, to Jesus, that now I am in my 80s and still I have not found God. I pray to you regularly. I never miss my church services, and I try to follow your teachings as much as I can. But yet there is no satisfaction, the inner peace, or any vision of God in my life. And I don't know how long will I live. Will you like me to die without fulfilling this small desire, at least one moment of that vision, which now you're merged with Father, at least I could have little glimpse before I die. This was her prayer at the back of her mind always. But she said politely that I'll ask my husband and my daughter and then get back to you. That night, in her own words, Jesus appears in her vision, telling her, go with this group to India. You will find God there. Oh, this was so thrilling and exciting for her. She got up from sleep and told her husband, who was also on wheelchair, naturally above 80. She said, I must go. He said, if Jesus is telling this, means now there is no stigma. Now you can go without any reservations. But I will not be able to join you. You go with the group. It is a golden opportunity. You go. So she left her husband in care of her daughter, and she came along with the group to Puttaparthi. Immediately on seeing her on the very first day she was sitting with the group, Swami directly came to her, brisk walk, like I have experienced that when Swami comes with brisk walk, you know that energy. At last you have come. I am so happy. And then Swami went along for the darshan. She was in seventh heavens. She saw God. Next day, Swami called them for interview, group interview. After 3 days, another group interview. They were all so happy, so satisfied, everyone. And on the 6th or 7th day, when they had to leave, this lady refused to go back. She said, I have found my God, I don't want to come back. You go, I'll stay as long as he wants me to stay, so I will stay here. She was in her 80s. So the group left. She gave message for her husband and daughter, they will take care. Everyday darshans, visions, beautiful. After a few days, Swami came in, as he acts like an innocent person. Hey, where is your group? Swami, they have left. Why you have not gone? He is asking her after 8 or 10 days. She is darshan. This is how this divinity works. Go. So Swami called her for interview. Why you did not leave? Swami, I have got the ultimate vision, the fulfillment of my purpose of my life. I don't want to go back. No, you must go. Take care of your husband. I am with you. But Swami, now I am alone. At least I should wait till some group comes and I'll go with them. Don't worry. I'll be with you. In you, around you, behind you, besides you, always and everywhere. I'll be your ticketless traveler. Don't worry. She had to obey. She got into her flight. The flight was full. But she found, surprisingly, the only one seat vacant was next to her. Entire flight was full. Seat next to her was kept vacant. She knew Swami is sitting and she felt his presence. She was so happy. She in her mind started feeling that joy and bliss of his constant presence, like his fragrance. Because she in bliss. The flight took off. Now the game starts. Why Swami chose this day, this flight for her? Everything is divine, perfect calculation. In mid of the flight, two terrorists, crazy persons, they stood up with their guns and the flight was to be hijacked to Iraq. Everybody got frightened. She got frightened. But she was exceptionally blessed and she remembered, Swami, you are with me. I know you are sitting next to me, but look at these people. I have to meet my husband. You told me that I have to serve him. What should I do now, Swami? Please, Swami. Swami said, give him my love. Swami, how can I love? I can't even look at these horrible people. You want me to love them? You want me to give love to them? Not your love, my love. Then she understood. She looked at the eyes of the person who was having his gun directly pointed towards her direction. And in her mind, with little voice murmuring, Swami loves you, Swami loves you, Swami loves you. Baba loves you, Baba loves you, Baba loves you. And her voice kept increasing, Swami loves you, Swami loves you. She was in fear also. But that mantra went on. After a few minutes, suddenly this man, both the persons who were holding guns, they started shaking. And immediately they were captured and they were caught by their staff and some who were the people traveling, passengers. And they were overpowered. This was, someone told me, was also mentioned in the leading newspapers, of course, as a news. They did not mention about this lady and all, but they mentioned this hijack drama and how it was overpowered. They were two terrorists and the flight went safe to US. And it appeared in Sanatana Sarthi. Some very close friend told me. I have not read it directly, but this is what Mr. Subarao Garu narrated. This is the power of his love. And Swami gave me one direct experience on this through some person, a friend of mine, a Gujarati from UK, London. During 95, he came to Whitefield and I knew him by face, he knew me by face. So he came to know that I'm practicing homeopath. So he approached me that his daughter was very small, a school going child, that she is so frightful. She will always feel fearful when she is alone in darkness. So, is there any medicine for that? I said, being Sai devotee, the only mantra is why fear when Sai is here. But she wanted something very solid. I said, then you don't need any medicines. Normally, I avoid giving any medicines. I do what Swami directs me to do to uplift the mind, to transform the mind from the situation and bring situation in the life of that person. I have done it many times with his grace. So I told her that whenever any situation, any fear comes, what I do is I immediately chant Gayatri, Sai Gayatri. The moment, or even normal Gayatri, I have full faith in Gayatri mantra. The moment I will start Om Bhur Bhuva or Sai Shuraya, just I start and the fear is gone. She said, really, uncle? I said, yes, I'm telling you the truth. Now you can also try. She said, fine. And after a few months or so, again when they came for some function, the father narrated. He came alone with a group. He said, Harish, Swami has done the job. You have done the miracle. I said, what happened? He said, my daughter was practicing this and she became so normal. She could sit alone in house, even in darkness, in solitude, and she could be normal person. And that was a great achievement. So once she was sitting in a park and singing Swami's bhajans, and she had a book of Swami in her hand. And suddenly she did not realize that it was sunset and then little dark, and she was alone. Everybody around her had left, but she was in her blissful mood with open eyes, but she was in her blissful singing bhajans of Swami. Then she suddenly realized that somebody is approaching her, a stranger and a very horrible person approaching with wrong intentions, as if to overpower her or molest her or physically assault her. And he was definitely not the right man to approach like that. And she knew it instantly. Instantly, she immediately started chanting Sai Gayatri. The moment she started with it, and then Sai Ram, and this person got so nervous. Now he was fearful, he was frightened, as if he saw something which he could not look at. And he left running. He said from that day onwards, she has become such confident person that now she says, you can leave me alone and go anywhere. I know I have my power with me always. This is the power of his love. We all need to experiment on this. This is not anything in the air. Spirituality is the highest science. It changes the situation. It changes the vibrations around us. It uplifts our mind. Not only our mind, it gives vision to the other person also. I believe that even those terrorists or this person who came with wrong intentions, they had vision of Swami. Like the people who came on 6th of June, that unfortunate incident, they entered Swami's room with wrong intentions. But they could do nothing to Swami because they must have seen, it is my assumption and everybody's assumption, that they must have seen something indescribable. Like that person from Madhya Pradesh who surrendered, all the dacoits surrendered with Swami's love, who came to kill Swami actually. And when Swami took him to interview room, he saw something which is beyond description. And then he surrendered. So even the other person who is the wrong person according to our worldly language, even they are blessed with Swami's vision. If we practice this, just be channels and ambassadors of His love in every situation. My dear brothers and sisters, I have experimented on this innumerable times in every situation, even the smallest, the moment any negative thought crosses, forget entering my mind. Even it crosses my mind, immediate Sai Gayatri or Om Sri Sai Ram. Not even one moment, I don't have to finish the mantra actually. It vanishes. Any fearful thought, any negative thought, which you feel is not your thought actually. Someone asked me, sir, if it is not our thought, how to deal with it? I said, suppose you are living in a house on the ground floor. You can see a drunkard going by the road outside your bungalow or your apartments. He is drunkard, he is in negative vibrations, he is abusing everybody, whatever. Just you ignore. Don't call him, don't entertain him, don't allow him to sit, don't try to even put sense into him. Your love will not work. At the most, we all can do is, and we must do is, just transmit the love of Swami to that person. Sitting at your place, without even telling him, without any expectations from anything, nothing. Just pure and selfless love of Swami to that person, to that situation. See the magic happening. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय.